reading. Oh my god. I hate this. I'm so stressed. Hello my lovelies, welcome back. My name is Viry for those of you who are new here. I'm excited because today we are of course doing another reading vlog, but as you all saw in the thumbnail or title, we're actually going to be focusing on one book, and that is Alchemised by SenLinYu. The amount of buzz that this book has is insane. I genuinely just felt FOMO and picked up this book for October. It was not on my radar at all. I have not read Manacle. I have not even finished the Harry Potter series. I know that this is supposed to be a fan fiction. So there's just a lot of buzz going on. And when I decided to pick this book up, I banned anything related to Alchemized from all of my social media. And anytime I see a book review that even mentions Alchemized, I skip over it. I do not want to know a thing about this book because I want to build my own impression from it. The only thing I know about it is that it's a fantasy, it's a standalone, it's dark, and I might need some therapy. And of course, it used to be a fan fiction. I decided, since there's so much buzz, why not add to it and make my own reading vlog from someone who didn't even know this book existed. I was going to take the weekend to just read it, but it's such a big book. I don't want to rush through it. So I'm going to start today. It's Thursday. Try to get reading as much as possible. Wait, is this 1,000 pages? It's 1,000 pages? This is my first book that is over 1,000 pages. No wonder my wrist feels like it's going to fall off. This is going to have spoilers because it's going to be a reaction video. That's kind of the gist of it. Grab a drink, get cozy, and let's get started with this video. So I did not read as much as I thought I was going to yesterday. I maybe read like half a chapter, so we're going to go ahead and pick that up. I think maybe I'll read for like 2-3 hours. I don't think we're gonna finish this book in 2 days. It's 1,000 pages and I want to be able to enjoy it. From what I've read so far with the alchemy and the necromancy, it's a lot of getting used to, like terminology wise and stuff like that. It's a lot of world building at the moment and I'm loving it, but I haven't had the time to actually concentrate on it. I'm gonna just try and do that right now so I can get really sucked into this book because it's taking me a little bit, and it's nothing against the book, it's just I've been busy. Also, because I know that this used to be Harry Potter fan fiction, I can't help but like find similarities, and I'm trying really hard to separate that because it started off as fan fiction but it's its own thing now, so I'm trying to keep it as its own thing. It's so windy outside, holy crap. Let's go ahead and read for a bit. I am hardly making damage, and my plan was to read all weekend, and that has not been the case. I did get the audiobook, so then when I do need to do other things, I can listen to it in the meantime. It's just one of those books that you really need to pay attention to all of the details because it's so dense with world building, and I do like it. I'm enjoying it a lot for that reason, and for that reason alone, I'm going to take my time reading this because I had to look up so many of the terminology already, and it's just hard, but I'm really getting into it, and I'm in page 152 right now. My dog just joined me. You know what? Now that I'm having an easier time separating the Harry Potter side of it all, is it bad that I'm siding a little bit with like the necromancers? Because like this whole idea of divine intervention, the gods are the ones that choose who get to lead, sounds very manipulative, as it usually does. I feel like Farron, I've been calling him Farron because that's what she calls him, right? I feel like Farron has been kind of like in the middle. He is not fully with whatever these people are, but he's also was never really into the whole eternal flame community either because of their beliefs, so he kind of falls somewhere in the middle. And I feel like Helena, who was basically indoctrinated to believe that her power, her gift that she didn't know she had until later, was immoral. This is just very indoctrinated beliefs. I don't know, it's just it's so complex. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. All we did was become what they already convinced them we were. Ignoble and corrupt. That's kind of at that point a self-fulfilling prophecy if that's all you're allowing these people to choose. And see, this is where I understand where she's coming from. Luke had always tried to see the best in everyone. To him, his family's responsibilities were weighed. He had no choice but to accept for the sake of everyone else. This is a system that has been working for years. It'll be hard to overthrow a system that everyone is so used to, especially those in power. Just change alone is so difficult. Now imagine taking away some power from those that have it and telling them,
hey, you have to adjust to this new thing because what we've been doing is wrong.
I mean, dude, that's literally our political world right now. So, oh my god, I hate this. What? I was sterilized. Yeah, she was sterilized, so she can't be part of the program. Two months to get her pregnant? What? Oh no, I feel so bad for her. Dude, I am... Holy crap. I am in page 240 and I feel like so much has happened already. And you're telling me I still have like 800 pages to go? Anyway, we have finally gotten to the part where Helena's sterilization got reversed and now she's able to have babies, and because they're trying to create more children with her power. And so now Farron and Helena are kind of put into this position of, okay, you have to reproduce, you have 2 months. And this is definitely giving Handmaid's Tale now. And the fact that she's always forced to wear red. Dude. I'm going crazy. And every time I feel like we're getting somewhere, something else happens. The whole incident between her and Aurelia, where Aurelia like scooped out her eyeball and then Farron came and was like,
tell me what to do, tell me how to heal you.
You saw the moment of panic. It's kind of like, is he panicking because she could have serious brain damage, or is he panicking because he cares? What am I reading? Using my phone because my camera's not near me, but his face was so close, the words brushed against her lips and his mouth crashed against her. I'm feeling so terribly sad for both of them. Neither one of them wants this, but they're kissing and I don't know if I'm happy about that, especially after everything they just went through. It got really dark now because it's hailing outside. So much is happening. I'm really enjoying this book and it's breaking me apart at the same time. She's pregnant. We don't want this. But also the idea of her going back to Central sounds terrible. But she doesn't want this. He didn't want this. They were kind of both forced into this. That was so hard to read, especially when they essentially drugged her to make it feel better for her. Boy, that was hard. Oh my god. The ring he just gave her, the ring from earlier. Wait, so that means that Kane and Helena had history. This is gonna hurt me, isn't it? Because then she's going to forget everything because something happened. Oh my god. I was listening to it in the shower, so y'all did not see my reaction. The moment he requested her, I'm just like,
this is interesting.
And I'm just like,
wait a minute.
This is not just a small little flashback. This is her remembering everything that's happening. He mentioned, and I'm just like, this sounds vaguely familiar. Maybe I'm just like confusing it, or maybe, I don't know. He mentioned how his training was rigorous and how he said to see if I'd be better than my father or if I'd break under interrogation too, right? Farron is saying this. And I'm just like, That sounds familiar, but whatever, I kept reading. And then immediately after, it says, was that before you killed Principe Apollo? That's what Helena said. And then Farron said, are you wanting a confession? Shall I tell you everything I've done? This was the exact conversation they had earlier. And you know what? I understand the reaction now, because then Helena says, do you want to? It's like probably killing Farron to be doing what he's doing to Helena when her memories are gone. We are almost halfway through this book. So this book, from what I'm aware of at the moment, the story is about Helena, who is a prisoner of war captured from the rebellion of the Eternal Flame. Her case is so odd because they found her in status where she should have not survived, and then when they tried looking into her, they realized she was a Vivimancer and realized that her brain is all jumbled up where you can't see any of her memories, and she does not remember anything either. So she's given to this one person called the High Reeve, which is kind of like almost the second in command after Morrow. He is tasked to figure out what are the secrets that Helena has in her mind. So this High Reeve turns out to be Kane Farron. Kane Farron is just trying to figure out Helena, what is going on with her. And throughout all of this, they're also trying to get her to get better, because then we find out later that she is going to go into these like birthing camps. Sadly, they're like forcing women with any kind of powers to reproduce with other people so then they can create children with that kind of power that they want. Helena being a very rare kind, they also want her to reproduce. Kane basically has first dibs of trying to reproduce with Helena even though he doesn't want to. He clearly does not want to. Kane succeeds, and it turns out that she's starting to remember, and so now we're at the part of the book where it's explaining everything that happened before she lost her memory. We're seeing all of the rebellion side, how she worked as a healer, and how she was mistreated because she was a Vivimancer and they didn't trust her and was like just using her. She's so indoctrinated into believing their specific beliefs, all while she is talking to Kane Farron. Kane is giving them information about Morrow and all of that stuff to help the Eternal Flame and their cause. And they're kind of just like getting to know each other, and there's just this complex relationship forming between each other. And it is so, oh my god, like I'm excited to see once we go back to the present timeline how Helena's going to grasp everything that she remembered. Just the fact that she got delivered to Kane Farron when she already knew him, but she didn't remember him, but he knew her and he remembers her, and oh my god. I don't know. Something's going to happen. I already know something's going to happen that's going to break me. I don't think I'm going to finish this till maybe like midweek. They kiss! A real kiss this time. That's so sad. She started to feel guilty about it. And Kane noticed and he's like, I think it's time you go. That's so sad. Sorry if I have food on my face. I just ate lunch. But these are very minor details I'm reading right now. Kane asked Helena, why did you kiss me? And she said how she was feeling lonely. And he made her feel like she existed, basically, right? That she was just not deduced to what she can provide. I thought that was so cute. But that aside, he also had asked her to bring down her hair a few pages back, right? And mentioned how he liked her hair all curled and stuff like that. And we move fast forward a few pages later, and she's with the rebellion, and one of her friends is like,
oh, what happened to you? Like your hair's down?
She just kind of like made up an excuse, and he said,
you know, I forgot your hair looked like that. It's pretty the way you braid it now.
Her hair is one of the main identifiers that she's not from Palladium, that she's from one of the islands. He basically just said, I like it better when I can't see that you're not from here. I know that might not have been his intention. It almost felt like an ingrained prejudice that even her friend didn't even notice. The fact that Kane acknowledged that that was a beautiful part of her, and her friend acknowledged that that's a part that should stay hidden, So sad. I don't know, I might be reading too much into that tiny little detail, but that tiny little detail means a lot to me because it's a form of discrimination within the book, right? Her hair is a main factor of who she is. I like the acknowledgement of that. And it's such, like, again, it's such a small detail, but it means a lot. This book is just about how these people think they're doing something for the greater good, but they're forced to do actions that they don't want to take because it goes against their own morals and values. But because it's for the greater good, why could it be bad when it's helping people who are good and defeating people who are bad? But also, once evil is defeated, you go back to a system that is oppressing a certain kind of people. And then we go back to the question of nature versus nurture, whether it's society that made these people evil or were they born with it. And my God, I love this so much. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really enjoying all the philosophical ideologies that this is like bringing out. Again, I might be reading too much into it, but this is what I'm seeing. This is gonna be a long chatty vlog, isn't it? This is what I mean by she has been indoctrinated to have certain beliefs. The Vivamancers were parasites by nature, and they would rot and burn in the bowels of the earth for an eternity if they did not repent and purify themselves by giving up every drop of their vitality they'd taken. How do you tell a child that their birth is not natural? Because that's basically what she has been hearing since she was small. Even though they didn't know she was a Vivamancer, she just understood this knowledge and then later on learned that the reason why her mom died was because she basically leached from her mom because she's a Vivamancer. Again, she didn't know this until I think like her teen to adult phase, but still. And now we're learning that Kane's mother might have been a Vivamancer and was using her vitality. You can't take away someone's life force, is what he just explained. But this is what they're teaching everyone, that Vivamancers are inherently evil since conception. I feel very emotional about this. I've been reading quite a bit and I have not been recording my reactions. I'm sorry, but we're here now and I'm going to read a little bit more before I catch you all up on what I've been reading because something big's about to happen. I can feel it. I'm going to pause right here. We are in chapter 52, page 666, about 400 pages to go. The last time I talked to y'all, I immediately read after that Helena found out that they wanted her to kill Kane. And Ilva is just using Helena as a way to kill him. And Helena begged to ask to keep Kane alive if she was able to keep him loyal. Kane is like fully obsessed with her at this point. He essentially enslaved himself to the eternal flame as long as Helena is safe and alive. And the feelings between Helena and Kane are getting more and more complex because they're finding comfort in each other, especially after Kane showed vulnerability towards Helena. And we just went through a scene where Luke got taken away and Soren recruited Helena to go rescue Luke, and Soren requested Helena to use his body if he were to die and bring him back, so to use necromancy on him. Soren did die and Helena did what she was asked and Luke noticed, and now Luke is just like upset with her, extremely upset with her. It's just a whole mess because I feel like they can't understand what Helena is seeing because they're in the front lines and yes, they see a lot of death, but at least they see like wins and losses, while Helena is just putting people back together, sending them out, and they come back even worse or dead. This is just taking a huge mental toll on her. Her only solace is basically Kane. Long story short, very intense book, very dark. I'm breaking at the idea that we go back to the present timeline. So something big is still about to happen in the next few chapters, and I know it's going to hurt. My theory is that now that we know Kane is part of the resistance, he is behind the dying in the present timeline. I think that's what's going on now that we know why he's in all of this. Okay, I had to take a quick pause from my work because I was listening to chapter 53. I forgot to mention how much blind faith they have on this religion to make sure everything goes well and for them to be able to choose purity over anything else. I understand that's the point of religion. Hold on, let me take these off. Basically, just to be an empathetic human. But the way they use religion in this story is so literal because they all believe that this miracle that Orion obtained, which is a total lie apparently, is the reason why Orion was able to win the war against the necromancer. They keep having this kind of like,
oh, well, you're a Vivomancer, so you're going to be constantly tested, and you keep choosing wrong, and, you know, you're kind of just prone to it because you're a Vivomancer.
So that's kind of like the predetermined notion that they have on her. And again, goes back to the whole nature versus nurture. How do you end up choosing the right thing to do when you're constantly being told that you are in the wrong and that you are not morally okay and you're not allowed to take any credit for anything you do because that is your way to repent for the evil that you have inside you? Like, how do you not grow up to be evil, or how do you not build resentment when that's constantly what you're hearing? Oh my god. I have this much book left. I'm so stressed because in chapter 65, that's when we go back to the present timeline. The war is at its peak at this moment and something is going to collapse, something is going to give because we know that the eternal flame is gone. So something's about to happen. Hold on, I wrote notes this time. So there was a part earlier in the book where Helena was talking about nullifying resonance for the undying if they get captured. Shiseo created manacles, but then Helena was just like,
well, if we create a tube that goes through the wrist, that will completely remove them from their resonance.
So essentially, Helena created her own manacles, or at least came up with the idea of her own manacles that she's wearing present time. Again, I love the full circle moments that we get sometimes. We also found out that Lila is pregnant and is also a Vivomancer. Yeah, that has happened. I'm gonna read a little bit more. I'm planning to stop in chapter 65 just to see how this current storyline that I'm in ends. I had a feeling when Luke was saying get it out of me. It reminded me a lot of Helena's story about her dad, but I forgot. And then we came to the realization that, yeah, that was not Luke, and that's why he was being a dick about everything. Oh my god, I know exactly what's gonna happen. We are in part 3 and now I know why she can't remember anything and the important things that she's trying to protect, like Lila being alive with a baby and protect Cain and everything he did for her. And I have about 150 pages more to go. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it tonight, but I think I might pull an all-nighter just to finish this tonight. I just want Cain and Helena and Lila to have peace. That's all I want. I'm gonna take a break and then I'll come back to it. I've been reading this book non-stop and then I'm like, okay, I need a break because so much is happening. Shiseo just died and what is going on, right? And so we're in chapter 73. I have 5 chapters left. I have less than 100 pages to go. And Cain wants to get Helena out now. I'm finishing this book today. I will sit on this corner until I finish this book. I have 4 more chapters to go, but everything is aligning too perfectly. Atreus, who we did not like for the longest, now knows how his wife actually died and is like,
I will sacrifice myself for you.
But I don't know if I trust him. The first promise I made to you was that I'd be yours for as long as I live. I'm keeping that one. Jaro, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Come here, my emotional support animal. He's alive, but I have 3 more chapters. they're either going to survive this or something big is gonna happen. There's 3 more chapters and an epilogue. It seems that Cain was able to get his soul back. Hopefully, fingers crossed, but I'm scared. We did it, Cain, just like we always said we would. I'm happy, but I don't want to get my hopes up. What if Stroud put a tracker in her? I'm gonna be so mad if they find them because there was a tracker in her. Please, just let them escape. Helena and I are one and the same. She's like, it's going to fall apart. It always falls apart. Girl, same. I don't trust this right now. Dude, I am so paranoid that Helena gave birth and I deadass thought she was going to die during birth. It's all so cute and sweet right now and I'm just so scared. Until I finish this book, I am not going to be able to rest in peace. This breaks my heart. He can't even feel like he deserves to have a family because of everything that he's done. I'm not supposed to have this life. I like how it says her face was squashed from birth. Newborns could look very funky, huh? Helena watched him and recognized the expression that slowly filled his eyes as he stared at the tiny person tenaciously clinging to him. Possessive adoration. Wait, that was so cute. I didn't think I was going to finish it today. I genuinely did not think I was going to finish it today. I'm kind of sad. Helena's side of the war, of everything that happened, is basically erased. But I also understand the need for it to be erased because then they can't have a peaceful life. It wasn't until the very last chapter, I'm just like,
Okay, they're okay. They escaped.
I genuinely was so scared that when they flew away from Cain's house, they were going to get caught and someone was going to die or someone was gonna have to sacrifice himself. If I felt like that as a reader, that they were not going to know peace even until the very last chapter, I can't imagine what like the characters would have felt. Final thoughts tomorrow, and hopefully this video won't be that long. We're gonna do this fast. I just want to wrap up this vlog. Let's just talk about what I read, okay? I finished Alchemised last night. I was a little I don't know how to explain it, a little traumatized. I don't know. That said, I still really enjoyed reading this book. I wrote some notes on my phone. Let me pull this up. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna give you my rating. I am rating this a 5 out of 5. I thought about it all night, all morning, and this is a 5 for me. It feels like a 5. Even though there is going to be some negative commentary on this review portion, it's still very much a solid 5 for me because it invoked so many emotions. I was very much hooked throughout the whole book. It was extremely complex and it kept me entertained, and it's something that is going to be very memorable for me. This is one of my top books of the year for sure. Before we move on with the rest of the review, I just want to say books are very subjective, especially very popular books that are getting a lot of attention. It's obviously going to be having very polarizing reviews. Some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it, and that's completely fine. What you like and what I like does not have to coincide. Last disclaimer, I am also going to be talking about some very dark subjects, some very triggering topics because it was a very triggering book for sure. I'll put up a trigger warning when I'm about to touch on those topics, but just know that that is something we're going to touch on as well. So the first thing I wrote down is this is not a fantasy book for beginners. It's very complex and there's a lot of world building. Absolutely agree with that statement I wrote down. It's not for beginners in my opinion. You could still read it if you have not read a fantasy book at all, like ever. It's very complex. It's very heavy on the world building, and the alchemy magical system that they use is also extremely complex. It very much does remind me of like a Brandon Sanderson world of Mistborn specifically because of the alchemy. That was the easiest way for me to kind of consume this book, by being able to kind of like see it in that perspective. I had to simplify it so much for myself where I just called it powers, but it is a lot of details that you do have to pay attention to, especially maybe like the first 5-6 chapters. Next point was I approached the book with a political and philosophical perspective instead of a romance perspective. In short, what I meant about that is that when I began reading this book, I had a notion that there might be some romance, but I did not want to go into it thinking this is strictly a romance book, because even just the first few chapters did not feel like that. I did not really get any romance until part 2, which is in the past timeline. I feel like approaching it more as just a fantasy book will be less disappointing if you were expecting a dark romance. Approaching it in a political sense, it made me just kind of enjoy the world building a lot more, because I'm just like, so they're post-war, this happened, but these are the bad guys. But then you go into the past timeline when Helena's going through the war, and you're just like, well, they're not good either. And then that's where the politics get a little bit complicated. That's where philosophy kicks in as well. I brought up the topic of nature versus nurture a lot. There's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of indoctrinated beliefs, and it's just very complex. And I feel like simplifying it to just its romance does not do justice to the book. The next point says, having not read Manacle or finished the Harry Potter series, I feel like this book can stand on its own. Like I said, I never read Manacle, so I have no idea what the fan fiction was originally about. I never finished Harry Potter, and I never finished the movies either. I think I got up to the 3rd or 4th book, so I don't know what happens. I know that maybe at the end Voldemort gets defeated and that's about it, but I don't know what it leads up to. I feel like the mistake a lot of people do is because so many of us know that this is a fan fiction, and then unfortunately I'm one of those people that has told people that this is a fan fiction. It takes away from it being able to stand on its own, because then you're trying to find similarities throughout the whole book. I feel like when you know something's a fan fiction, you subconsciously try to connect to the original work. I do feel like if you go in without knowing, you might not see the similarities. It did take me maybe like the first few chapters to separate the fan fiction from the new product. I definitely feel like at the beginning I was subconsciously trying to make those connections, but as the book continued, I could not make those connections. I didn't know who was who. Eventually the characters became their own characters in my head. I do feel like it could stand on its own. So the next point is heavy and dark topics, since it takes place during war times and post-war times. It is very heavy topics. Like I said, you kind of see Helena go into depression, and obviously post-war there is a lot of things that happen to Helena. I had to take breaks from the book. I had to go touch grass. Definitely, even though my mind was just like, I want to know what happens next, I want to keep reading, I needed breathers because they are very heavy topics. The next point is the romance builds in the past timeline instead of the present timeline. The romance does not build up in part 1. You see Helena feeling like she's developing Stockholm syndrome, and they acknowledge that, but we don't get any romance build up until part 2, when it's during the war, because she met Kane and worked with Kane and spent time with Kane, which then in turn built a relationship between the two. It gets very complex. They do have intimacy. I wanted to rate it a 2, but I think I'm gonna say a 1.5 for spice, because while we did get some intimate scenes, it wasn't spicy. It was just more about the feeling rather than descriptive information. Definitely the romance developed in the past, and then when she remembered everything, she was trying to just piece her two sides of herself together, because there was this person before her memories were lost, and now this person that was created after her memories were lost, and she was trying to fuse them together. This one, I don't know if that was the purpose of the author, but I wrote down, I was anxious until the very end that they would not be free. Every time they were just close to freedom, or they were close to just being able to run away, something would always happen all the time. It was just so difficult not to feel like once they escaped that they were gonna get hunted down and brought back, and Kane was going to die, or she was going to sacrifice herself. There was a point where I thought she was not gonna make it through the pregnancy. The fact that the characters had that same exact feeling of worry in the back of their mind throughout the whole time that they were free, that's exactly how I felt as a reader. Until I closed the book, I could not have a moment of peace. Moving on, because my camera's overheating. The last point, this is the major critique I had, and this is the reason why I wasn't sure if I was gonna give it a 5, but even after contemplating everything, that is the rating I want to give. I put down, I feel conflicted about the birthing program. Was it there just for the sake of having a baby? Most of the story focused on the past, so it felt like it lost its significance. Was it necessary? So I know it was necessary in the sense of they needed women to have children to create a new body for Moro, or to create more people with like alchemy. I understand the purpose of the program, but I feel like it lost its significance when we focused so much on the past that when we came back, the program was just there just to move the plot. This is where I'm going to give y'all a warning. I am going to talk about some very triggering topics. If that's not something you're interested, please go ahead and skip to the end of this. In short, Helena was coerced into having relations with Cain. The way I approached this was that they were both victims of a program. Neither one of them wanted to participate in this program. I think you see that in my reactions, how I just felt so bad for the both of them, because you could clearly tell that he didn't want to and she didn't want to, but the alternative was so much worse. I thought the reason why we got that scene was because it was going to have more impact for the plot, but in reality, when we moved to the past and we just focused so much on the past and then came back and then I remembered she was pregnant once more, it was just kind of like, wait, so did all of this happen just so she could get her sterilization reversed and have a baby? It really did feel like just a pregnancy trope towards the end rather than a significant part of the book, as to this is a major key component of the plot, because that is definitely something where I was just kind of like, if it brought more of a commentary the way The Handmaid's Tale did, then it would make sense as to why it was brought in, and that's why I'm asking, was it necessary? So yeah, that's definitely something that I wasn't a huge fan of and could have done without, because it was extremely heavy and traumatizing. I think I did appreciate how they grew from it, and then having to again reconcile what happened to her and being able to move from that, and then Cain having to reconcile that he is the reason why this happened, and he, even though is also a victim of this, is the aggressor in this situation. Them just having to learn to grow, and then him having to learn to care for a child that they did not want and that he was ready to kind of like get rid of, but eventually she was just like, I want to be able to keep this and like love it. It definitely worked towards their character development, but it felt unnecessary. So that is just definitely one of like my biggest critiques in that. But again, I'm not the author. I don't know what the intentions were behind this. Anyway, moving on from that. And I think that's it. That's all I wrote. So yeah, we finished Alchemised. We finished this big old book, 1,000 pages. Like I said, very dark book, very heavy. This is still going to be one of my top books of the year, even with that like big critique towards the end, because I still really enjoyed the rest of the book. It's a 5. If it's overhyped and I've added to that, I'm sorry. I definitely don't think that this book is for everyone. If you do read it, just remember to take breaks when needed, because it is dark and literally heavy, but also figuratively heavy. But I think that's it. My camera literally overheated. Yeah, wrapping this up. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, have you read Alchemized? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Tell me. Just tell me. I'm very curious, because I definitely do feel like this is a very like hit or miss book for a lot of people. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already and you would like to, please subscribe. I usually make book content, and now and then I make some lifestyle vlogs. But thank you all so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.